Hello everyone and welcome to this little DPS showcase for Raiden Shogun to test her capabilities as possibly a damage dealer. We're going to be testing her solely by herself, and later down the video we're going to be showcasing her with viable teams that you could put her in for different scenarios. So for this first showcase, I'm going to start off with showing you her stats here. So here we have 19 elemental mastery. It's not going to be much at all. She's going to have 32.2% crit rate, 163.5% crit damage, 314.6% energy recharge. It's going to be really good for her for getting her burst back up, and 132.5 electro damage. Now, the weapon she's going to be using is going to be her own signature weapon, the Engulfing Lightning, which is going to be R1 at max level as well. As for the artifacts, we're going to be running a Emblem of Severed Fate and the Shimenawa's Reminiscence. The only reason why I'm not going for a 4-set of Emblem or Severed Fate is because I don't really have the artifacts. I won't be able to fully test her to that regards, but when I get it, I will be able to do it and actually test her damage. But from the testing I've seen, she has pretty good DPS. It's honestly really, really good. But we're going to be showcasing it without that for now. We're going to be checking her substats for her artifacts here. So let's just go through it. So this is going to be the flower. We got the plume here. We got the sands, goblet, and the circlet. She is going to be a C0. And she's going to have a 686. Now we're going to be looking at the skill attributes here just so you have a rough idea of what the values are. There we go. Now we're going to be testing it on the Pyro Regispine. So for this first test, we're going to be testing with and without all of her resolve stacks. So let's get in there and do this now. And we're back with a full 60 resolve stacked. So now we're going to be going back here and checking the talent tree for our burst. Now looking at the skill attributes, we gained 5.44% initial and 1.02% attack damage per stack. Now the initial is going to increase our first hit when we activate the burst, right there, the 561% by 300%. It's not the full amount, but I'm just kind of rounding it down to 5% per resolve stack. So I'll bring it up to 861%. Then we're going to be getting an additional 60% per normal attack and charged attack of the burst after. So with 60 stacks here, let's go see how much damage I do now. Alright, and that's going to be the kind of side-by-side comparison of what Ball could actually do with and without resolve stacks. Now, this is just damage based on just her by herself without having any sort of outside influence whatsoever. But this can easily change when, obviously, when you have Bennett on the team, when you have, like, Elemental Mastery on there, when you lower their resistance with, like, Swirl. Like, it's anything can make her stronger, but I'm not going to be doing that because every character is strong with that sort of setup of Bennett, Sucrose, and whatever the third person would you want to be. Like, it doesn't make sense to do that because every person's strong with that kind of setup. So there's no point. That doesn't actually prove anything. It's just, oh wow, you're strong. That's about it. Now, some may argue with me here that because I have so much energy recharge, I should just put on an attack Sands here. So I'm going to do the test with an attack Sands and see how that kind of changes up my damage. Okay, oh god. Am I actually losing? I am losing. Okay. I am losing the 18% attack here. So it's going to be a little bit worse. And now we have the max resolve test going for the attack Sands. We're really not gaining much off of that, but I would say that if you have as much energy recharge as me, that the attack percent does look better than the energy recharge. I will say that. Now, I'm going to give you some looks or some team builds that you could use currently with the Raiden Shogun. And currently, with this first team build that I'm showing you right now, it's honestly my most favorite because of the amount of support these guys give. It's not going to be like Bennett where you have like huge damage output in the certain area or whatnot. But more or less, what I'm focusing on here is Raiden being main DPS. Zhongli is going to be the one that's protecting the party, plus giving an attack boost with his artifact set. Then we're going to have Venti with the Swirl to CC small enemies, and Swirl in general with his artifact set to reduce the elemental resistance of those affected by Electro by 40%. And then we're going to have Albedo, who's also going to be putting down his flower to deal passive damage over time. Plus, with his Elemental Burst, he's going to be adding Elemental Mastery to all of my allies. The whole reason why I like this party is because Albedo's flower does AoE damage every 2 seconds, similar to Raiden Shogun, but his actually does more damage. Every proc on Albedo for me does 12k damage, and I have him pretty well built. Raiden Shogun also does AoE damage with her skill at a 1 second interval. So when you have both Albedo and Raiden Shogun having their skills on with Venti's Tornado, what you're going to be getting is Raiden Shogun's going to proc dealing that elemental damage inside Venti's Tornado, which is also going to lower the enemy's resistance to Electro by 40%. So that's an extra 40% damage with Venti's Tornado's additional damage plus Raiden Shogun's skill damage. And then we're also going to have Albedo's skill doing AoE damage. So one proc is going to hit every single enemy for both of them. So you can already tell if enemies can be picked up, they are going to be completely annihilated by Venti, Raiden, and Albedo. There's nothing they're going to do. Like, they're just going to blow up. It's that simple. Now looking towards the second page, this is more of a free-to-play budget. You know, if you don't have all those 5 stars or you weren't here early, this is more for you guys. So if you actually got Raiden Shogun while you're watching this video, you're going to be looking to try kind of create the team. So this is another form of it. It's not the best, but it does its job. So you got Raiden Shogun here as probably your main DPS, who's also going to be a battery for your other characters. Noel's going to be what's going to be shielding you and healing you. And then you're going to have Bennett here, who's also going to boost your attack and heal you at the same time. And then you also got Sucrose, who's going to be activating her Elemental Mastery boost to you. She's also going to be adding the Swirl with her artifact set, which is also going to be increasing your damage with your Raiden Shogun by reducing the enemy's electro resistance. It's not going to have as much CC and kind of outside damage help as the first team, but this in itself is all about kind of boosting Raiden as much as you can. Raiden isn't really going to have that any use for her elemental mastery in this scenario, but Sucrose can help on a somewhat good basis. I mean, you have 6 seconds on her burst to kind of deal damage with elemental mastery, and then that's pretty much it. You probably have at most 4 to 5 seconds of Raiden Shogun's ult while Sucrose's burst is on to kind of deal that elemental mastery damage. Now, looking at the next party, all I'm pretty much doing here is kind of swapping out Noelle for Xingshu. And Xingshu is what he's just going to do is just make sure that we have a reaction going on, so Elemental Mastery can actually proc more during Raiden Shogun's kind of attack phase, or her bursts. So you're sacrificing more of the defense for, you know, a little bit more damage. Although I don't think you're going to be needed because you're not going to be able to get interrupted at all, because Xingshu's his E and his... I keep saying his E. His skill and his burst are both going to be kind of blocking damage and healing her as well. So it really works having this kind of team. Plus, you're going to have Vaporize, you're going to have Superconducts. Elemental Mastery for Sucrose is going to be insanely good on this team that can proc it very well. Now, looking towards this this fourth build, we're going to be having Raiden Shogun as the support. So Xiao's going to be our main DPS, and what this build is all around is literally just activating Swirl to boost Xiao's damage. Now, Xiao's burst lasts 12 seconds and is on I think it was like 15 second cooldown. So what we're going to be doing here is Raiden's going to be support, but she's also going to be sub-DPS, because when Xiao gets out of his burst, he might not have enough energy to get back into it. So at that point, what we're going to be doing is we're going to swap over to Raiden, use her burst, and then get his back up, swap back to Xiao, get his back up, swap back to Shogun, back and forth. That's what this build is going to be. So you're gonna be constantly getting your elemental mastery up with Sucrose. You're going to have Diona with the healing and the shielding, which is going to be super good for the team. But if you have her at C6, like I do, you're also going to be getting 200 elementary mastery with the burst, which is going to be absolutely insane on top of Sucrose. Like, this is all about elemental mastery and rotating between Xiao and Raiden. It's all about the swirl here, and it's going to be absolutely insane. I can just think of it already. This is probably going to be not the top DPS build with Raiden as, you know, kind of the forefront, but it's going to be up there. It's going to be really good. So the only thing I'm worried about is when you're on the field with Xiao and you have Raiden's skill on, you have to proc Raiden's kind of element first, then you can proc the swirl. So I think in testing kind of phases, I think what's going to happen is you're going to hit once with Xiao. It's going to proc his element first, then it's going to proc the Electro. And what's going to happen is Electro's going to stay on there and a swirl isn't going to react because Anemo needs to have an element on there first to be able to swirl. It can't be the other way around because Anemo isn't like other elements where you can just apply it and leave it and then apply the next element to create a swirl. It doesn't work like that. Anemo needs to have an element on there first to create a swirl. So this is why I'm thinking with Xiao that what's going to happen is you're going to have to hit twice to get the swirl off. But I think I'm fine with that. There is another way to fix that, and that is to, after you leap and do your plunge, you normal attack once to activate Raiden's skill, jump and plunge again, and you're going to activate the swirl. So then you're going to have to add some different kind of maneuvers to your build. Now, I don't have Sucrose and Diona built up, so I can't actually show you how much damage this is going to be, but these are just rough ideas. You don't really have to use Diona either. You can use someone else, but this is, like I said, an elemental mastery build. This is all centered around swirling. Now this is something I want to show you guys, because this is the whole reason why I like this one team together, is solely because of these three: Raiden, Zhongli, and Albedo. I mean, look at this. I'm not even attacking back and they're taking so much damage. Like, this is absolutely insane. I'm not even doing anything. This is the power of those three together, and I absolutely love it. So I'm gonna have to reproc their abilities here. And they're dead. Like, I didn't have to do anything. And these enemies, which people can struggle against, they don't like, they do a lot of damage with. I don't know, Chief. That seems pretty easy to me. You could argue I could add someone else to this party, because I didn't use one slot. And you're right about that. She isn't maxed, but let's see what I can do here, Chief. So these guys aren't as strong, but we're gonna show off a little bit here. Yep. Sorry. I really love this team. It's just, it adds a lot of damage passively. You got the resonance damage from Zhongli, and then you also got the proc damage also being resonated from Albedo's flower, and then you also got the Raiden's skill constantly hitting them as well. Like, the damage stacked upon each other is just absolutely insane, and that's another reason why I even like this whole combo. It's just too good. But with that, that's going to be it for the kind of DPS showcase of the Raiden Shogun. Honestly, my thoughts overall is she is a great damage dealer, and she can fit a lot of roles. There's a lot of people saying her damage is bad or is lackluster, but I believe we just don't know how to build her yet. Like, for me, I feel like I'm on the verge of knowing how to build her, but I'm just not there yet. Like, her damage isn't as good as Xiao's. Xiao absolutely blows her out of the water. Like, it's not even funny how strong he is compared to her. But it's also because I don't have her fully built. She does need the 4-piece artifact set for the 75% extra burst damage. At that point, I'm pretty sure she just then kills Xiao and stun you out of the water. Like, super easy damage. But that's going to be it for this showcase. Everyone have a great night, and thank you for watching.